What is going on? Welcome back to the Jiu-Jitsu Outlet podcast. I'm sitting here with Dr. Rhadi Ferguson. Dr. Ferguson is a 6th-degree red and white belt in the art of judo. You are a 4th-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under the legendary Ricardo Laborio. You had professional MMA fights. Like, you teach judo and jiu-jitsu. But for people who don't know, you're one of the only grapplers that has competed in the Olympics in judo. You've competed at the highest levels of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the IBJJF. You competed at ADCC. And like I said before, you had pro MMA fights. So you've done basically like the 4 hardest things in grappling, in my opinion. You fought pro MMA, you fought at the Olympics, you fought at ADCC, you did it in the gi. So I feel like there's no one better to answer this question than you, of just how do you think training in the martial arts helps a person's mental health? Like, what has this done for you? All of this competing at the highest level, like can you take us through a bit of this evolution? Like, who were you before you started training and kind of comparing that with who you are today?
Well, I will say this. First and foremost, man, thank you for having me on the podcast. I appreciate it. And that's a great introduction, sir. Every time I hear it, I'm always surprised. And I just think about myself at the age of 47 and the things that I've been able to accomplish in my career. If you ask me who I was then and who I am now, I would say that the martial arts experience and the training process takes you as a piece of raw material and then refines you into a quality good. For some people, that's a great competitor. For some people, it's a great human being. For some people, it's a great parent. For some people, it's a great father. For some people, it's a great practitioner. For me, I was privileged enough for it to make me a great martial artist. And I think a great martial artist doesn't mean that you've won a lot of championships, but a great martial artist means that you understand what the martial arts in and of itself is supposed to produce. It's a refining and a pruning process where at the end of it, you should become a quality citizen and a well-disciplined individual. And the martial arts process in and of itself requires you to be a disciple, someone who studies. That's why it's so important to put yourself under the right teachers and the right instructors and the right mentors and the right coaches, because those people help you become that disciplined martial artist. So I can say martial arts has helped me become a more disciplined person. People always ask me, and they always ask my son and my daughter, was your dad in the military? And I was never in the military. I mean, I played college sports and I did martial arts. And the one thing about the martial arts process that a lot of people forget is that the word martial, when you look it up in the dictionary, means warlike. As a martial artist, your training is supposed to have some type of tone, hint, taste, or militaristic flavor to it, because in and of itself, it is combative in nature. It doesn't mean that you have to fight all the time. It means that you have to understand how to fight. And you can't be afraid of confrontation. You have to also know, as Kenny Rogers said in his song, The Gambler, you got to know when to walk away and know when to run. And that's all about making good quality decisions, which I believe that you should have as a martial artist.
I love this. And it reminds me of something that one of my first martial arts teachers said. He was talking about discipline, and he said that you're never going to see us have like a discipline exercise during class. There's never a moment in judo class where everyone sits down and it's like, all right, guys, we're going to focus on our discipline for a second. He was like, there's no technique for discipline. He was like, it's literally just showing up and continuing to train and just making it a lifestyle. And was there a point for you when you decided that? Like, were you just, as soon as you started training, you were all in, or was it gradual? Like, what was that like for you when you decided that you were going to commit your life to this?
Well, I would say this. I'm 47 years old. My background and my experiences are a little bit different to, I believe, most of your listeners. So I would like to say that I grew up in a very strict and disciplined and Christian household. And my mother and father were very, very adamant on the scripture of train up a child in the way that he should go. And when he is old, he won't depart from it. And the reason why I mention that now is not to browbeat anybody with scripture or Christianity, but I want people to understand that the modern day, I would call it, if you want to, it is modern day theology, because people worship a different thing. Whatever is important to most people, you can put that in the God space, if you will. We have this mentality where we let children do their own thing, or let the child decide, or let the kid make their own decision. And I'm not swapping out my 47 years of experience on this planet with time experience that provides me with wisdom to allow my children to make the decision on what they want to do. I am charged as their parent to train them in the way that they should go, not the way that they want to go. And my parents trained me in the way that I should go, not in the way that I wanted to go. When I didn't want to go to practice, my parents sent me to practice. When I didn't want to go to judo class, my parents sent me to judo class. When I didn't feel like training, my parents made me train. When I didn't want to get up in the morning, my parents made me get up in the morning. Why? Because my parents were training me in the way that I should go, not the way that I want to go. And this might not be a very popular mindset for some of what I call the new age parents, or the new age parenting style. But if you ask me what created the Rhadi Ferguson today, and what allows me to have children, my own two children who are multiple time national judo champs as on the junior level, and my son just won a gold medal at the US Open. Last week he was ranked number 18th in the state of Florida at linebacker. My daughter trains 2 times a day, and she's 12 years old in middle school. And if you ask me why they do that because I told them to do that, and that's what we're doing. And when you leave under the auspices and direction of the Ferguson household and the Ferguson experience, then you could do whatever you like. But my job is to present you with the possibility and opportunities for you to select what you would like from the smorgasbord or the buffet of life. What my parents did for me, I do for my children. I will give you as many tools as possible so that you can build the life that you want. But if I don't give you those tools, you can't build the life that you want. You can only build the life that you can.
Man, that's beautiful. I want to linger on this just a little bit longer. What do you think the martial arts has done for you in terms of your family and your relationships? Like, not just your kids and their demeanor, but I guess your relationship with them. Like, what do you think it's done for that? Getting them in martial arts at such a young age, having this disciplined lifestyle. What sorts of benefits do you see on the family side?
It helps with the communication a lot. I will say this: my daughter, when I left practice last week, said, "Daddy, my tooth hurts." Because I know my daughter and I know how she trains, if she says, "Daddy, I'm hurt," I know she's hurt. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When she said, "Daddy, I hurt my shoulder," her shoulder was broken. When she said, "Daddy, my tooth is hurt," I had to go take her to the dentist. So I went to the grocery store, got some Sensodyne toothpaste, made 2 dentist appointments. We had to go to a 3rd dentist appointment. She had to get a root canal the next day. Because when she says she's hurt, I know that she's hurt. My communication with my kids is such that it's clear, it's clean cut. They know where I'm coming from. I know where they're coming from. I don't have to deal with a lot of whining, complaining. I don't have to talk 2 and 3 and 4 times when I say something. I'm not asking my kids over and over and over again to do anything. We sit down, we talk, we go to breakfast sometimes, we go to lunch. We have really good communication, and the communication is clear because through the martial arts process, they understand the hierarchy of relationships. the hierarchy of the dynamics when they walk into a room, not just when they walk into a room without me, when they walk into a room with me. They can understand who's in charge, who they need to speak to, who they need to defer to. And let me say this, teaching children how to handle confrontation and also teaching them how to respectfully defer is important too. And going back to my main point on this, and I'm going to give you an example. It teaches my kids how to communicate. In my dojo, my man, anybody who walks in the dojo, when you walk through the doors, you immediately say good evening. When you leave, you say good night. When you walk through people in the hallway, you say excuse me. Everybody who is under the age of 18 addresses by everybody who's over the age of 18 with Mr. or Miss in front of their name. I do not allow children to talk to adults by using their first name inside of my dojo. Why? Because I don't allow kids to say what or huh or yeah. You say yes or you say no. Why? Because it is a professional space. Do we laugh? Do we joke? Do we have a good time? Yes. But the professional communication inside of that place has to be at the level of what we deem being professional. It is a professional art. It is a martial art. The communication is clear, and it's absolutely fantastic. When parents have been in my dojo for 3 and 4 months, they say, my kid is saying yes. I'm calling them one time for their room and they're coming. I don't have to call them 3 and 4 times. I don't know what you're doing in here, what you're serving in here, but it's absolutely fantastic and it's working. I said, ma'am, we serve ass whoopings in here. So we serve.
That's great. I love that. You should get a t-shirt made. That's a t-shirt right there. We serve ass whoopings in here. That's a t-shirt. But man, that's beautiful. And I just want to emphasize something. It's that you're training them for life beyond just the dojo. You're training them for life. You're not. I mean, obviously the self-defense is super important. The techniques are super important. If they want to go to the Olympics or they want to compete at ADCC, obviously they're going to have to put in the hours and the time and learn the techniques. But let's say they go off somewhere else after martial arts and they become a lawyer or a doctor or an entrepreneur, or they do something big. They're never going to forget these lessons that you taught them, because these things you're teaching them, man, people pay thousands of dollars to learn this stuff, to go to freaking communication seminars and, you know, how to get you that job seminars and all this sort of stuff. And you're saying like, hey man, just learn these basic skills. What else do you feel like you kind of incorporate into your judo or jiu-jitsu curriculum beyond just the techniques? Like, is there anything else that you kind of focus on in this way?
For sure. So I have a PhD in education. My master's degree was in the area of curriculum and instruction. So I understand that when you create a curriculum, and when I have the curriculum on the board for 12 or 14 weeks, injected into the curriculum, the unwritten things on the board are the things of understanding the sensitivity of time, understanding paying attention to detail, understanding how to multitask, understanding the importance of note-taking. I deliberately put things in my curriculum which will cause the children to fail if they don't pay attention to detail. What do I mean? I'm glad you asked. I went over last week, I said, I need somebody to come out and show me 5 half guard passes and 5 half guard sweeps. Everybody in the place failed, everybody. I said, and you all will be the same people that believe that you should get promoted in November. I said, and let me be clear, this is not the K through 12 process. You don't show up and then sit in the front and play all day and then go home and then have your mom and dad call and complain that I haven't done my job, and then I push you on to the next grade or give you the grade that you want. I say, in here you will fail, 100%. I said, this is no different than the classroom. Who in here has a notebook? They're always in there. I said, who in here has been taking notes? One person raised their hand, my daughter. I said, when you come in here every day, you should write down what we're doing and write down what we've done before you leave. I said, that is your daily mat diary, and it allows you to go back and look at the things that you've done and the notes and the cues that you need to have in order to do the moves and the techniques. Some days I'll write down all the moves. In the last 12 weeks, I just wrote down on Mondays and Wednesdays, I wrote down half guard top, half guard bottom, which means if they don't come to class and then write down what the moves are, there's no way for them to know them. I did that on purpose. Why? Because you're going to go into the university setting, where at the university setting, they don't teach anymore. They teach in K through 12. In the university setting, they are facilitators of the educational process, meaning you teach yourself and I'm here to help you. I remember my professor in statics, Dr. Taft Broom from Howard University, told me that. I said, well, you haven't taught us any of this. He says, I'm not here to teach you. This isn't high school. You have a textbook. You're here to teach yourself, and I'm a facilitator of your educational process, meaning you need to do the notes and you need to be doing the problems and you need to do, and then when you're stuck, you go to the office and you get the office hours and then you figure it out with the professor and you get with other people. Because if you have a hunger or a thirst for the knowledge, you will go get it. If you don't, then you will be passively instructed, and then you'll passively receive, and then you will also passively consume. And when you do that, you're going to get it at that passive level. Those individuals who are active in terms of consuming the knowledge, they will fast forward past those people who aren't. And I'm not trying to make everybody feel good when it comes time for promotions in my place. I don't have a kids program that has 200 kids in it. I don't play any games in my dojo. I don't play games in the dojo. I tell parents when they come, I have a list of other schools that you like to go if you want your kid to play games. I'm not here for your kid to play games. Your kid is doing a martial art. That's what your kid is doing. I'm not playing dodgeball. I'm not playing frog jump, bull smith. I'm not doing any of that. I'm teaching your kids how to shrimp, forward roll, backward roll, ukemi, ogoshi, osotogari, harai goshi, ouchi, kouchigari, how to fall, how to stand up, technical stand up. I am teaching your children the skills and the discipline that they need for life.
Man, that's beautiful. I'm really glad that you have that sort of an understanding. And I want to hit on one thing that you said here, which is the idea of seeking the knowledge. That's a very like old school esoteric framework, where back in the day of the samurai, for example, you found a master and you requested to be trained in this, and he might have said, no, you're not worthy, come back later, and these days it's more like, hey, we can just sign up everyone. Like, we want to grow this sport, we want to make money, we want to pay our bills and get students signed up. And I feel this is something I wanted to ask you about. Where do you feel is that line, like between the old school mentality of esoteric, this is a secret that is taught to the worthy, versus, oh, we want to grow this thing as big as possible? Like, where do you think is that? What do you think is the healthy way forward here for the martial arts?
Well, I would say, let me answer it like this. I would say that I don't think that that question would be fair to the individuals who have grown big schools. So let me answer it like this. I think it comes down to ethics and morals. And that's it. You can have a big school, because let me tell you something, universities are big schools, and they teach a lot of people. And they have a mission statement and they have a vision statement for education and the furtherance and the propagation of putting individuals in society who are going to permeate the fabric of society in a positive way and make positive change, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I just believe that when you add the element of martial to the art form, it it becomes a colander or a sieve automatically. Everybody's not going to make it. And it's very difficult to run a business when you want everybody to make it. Because it's not possible for everybody to walk around with a PhD. Is it possible? Yes, if they all went to school, if they all did the rigor, if they all did the dissertation, if they all put them, but it's just not possible. It's not possible. Everybody on the planet is not going to have a black belt in judo or a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, what do you and I know? You and I know this. If you never, ever quit, you will get your black belt. I tell people this all the time. I'll say it again. I want people to listen to me. If you never, ever quit, you are guaranteed, listen to me, to get your black belt. You might get it posthumously, but you are guaranteed to get it. You practice jiu-jitsu, you're a purple belt, God forbid something happens to you, man, boom, and you die, man, they'll give you a black belt if you never miss class. 100% with the certificate. Why? Because you never quit. Now, I would hope that you get it when you're alive, but here's the deal. The deal is you have to have the same relationship with martial arts that you do with your mortgage. You know what the word mortgage means? It means engaged with death. Mort or muerto in Spanish, death, G-A-G-E, gauge, together. You're together until the end. When you step into that dojo, the worst thing that you can do as a parent is to say the following words. I have extended my right hand to parents. I have shaken their hands. I have handed them back their check when they have said these words to me. We're gonna just try it out for a little while to see how Johnny likes it. I said, ma'am, sir, this place is not for you because I am not here to win your child over. You are the parent. You're signing the check and you're signing the paper. I'm making a contractual agreement and a deal with you, not with your child. What I want to know is, do you want to do, do you want them to do martial arts? If so, how long? It's fair to say, would you like them to try for 6 months, a year, 2 years? You let me know. But we're not going to do this if little Johnny likes it bullshit. And then as soon as there's a hard class in here, then they quit. Make a decision. And if you can't make a decision, it's okay. I have a list of schools here for you. And I have a list. These other schools would be more than well. Man, they got, one has 150 students. One is the biggest in the area. There's another one right down the street. They'll be more than willing to take you and your child and your foolishness, ma'am, sir. I said, but you not here. I said, I want the same thing that you want in your relationship and your marriage. You know what you want? I said, you want fidelity and you want what? I said, you want consistency. I said, I want the same thing.
It's powerful, man. And I think you're right. And I think that the mindset that you're talking about here will ultimately, it creates a standard. You know, I think that's what you were getting at before, is that it's okay if they have a big school. And I totally agree with this. Like if you have hundreds of students, that's amazing. If you have a strict high standard, you know, I have seen some schools that are really big and they don't do sparring. You know, they might do 5 minutes of sparring at the end of class. They've got a big group there, you know, and they don't do a lot of sparring. I'm like, guys, you know, that's the whole point. Like you were saying before, it's a martial art. You've got to practice the martial side. You know, if you're a purple belt and you've never sparred more than 5 minutes a week and you train once or twice a week, yeah, exactly. Like you're shaking your head. You know, I totally agree. It'd be like doing judo without doing randori. It's unthinkable. You know, I'm a brown belt in judo and I've never done a judo class without doing randori, but I have seen some more mainstream jiu-jitsu schools. Okay, go ahead. I'd like to hear your take on this. Because I'm getting to a question here.
Let me say that.
Yeah, go ahead. I guess, do you think that that's okay? Can you spar not at all and still progress?
Yes, you can. But here's the difference. the drilling has to be at a super high level. And I would say most instructors don't have, when I mean drilling, if you've been in a competitive school, you understand competitive drilling. When I mean competitive drilling, like let's say judo, I'm doing a uchi tao, wow, boom, and I throw you in and you get up, a uchi tao, bam, 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 bam. We're going back and forth for a minute, quick. And then the next drill is a uchi tayo into kazuri case katami, into munigatami, into the mount, into finishing the armbar, and then the next person, back and forth. I've had people do this until they vomit. So it keeps it safe, but the intensity level is super, super, super high. And then we're doing throws, 30 seconds on the crash pad, back and forth. And you can do it without doing the randori. You can't. You don't have to randori every section. I don't randori as much as I used to when I was younger, nor do I put my students through that amount of randori. But the intensity level is super, super, super high. And this whole just going to class and chilling, and do we have weeks when it's like that? Yes, we do. After we came off the summer with the US Open and stuff for judo, right now, a lot of the competitive kids, they're doing little to no banging on their bodies, man. But they're on the Rogeko bike. They're on the sled outside. They're lifting twice a day. You know, one of them's kettlebell swinging 300 swings in the morning, and then coming back and working out after school, and then getting on the mat and doing some light drilling. And they'll do this for this quarter, this October, November, December of the year. And then in January, man, we're fighting.
Right.
So there are pockets of periods of time when you do that, but this whole we're not sparring at all approach, and we're handing out belts. I understand it. I understand it because there is space for that in judo. There is space for that in judo. Let me say this. Judo and jiu-jitsu to me are the same. 100%. Except. Okay. Judo has a sporting side. Judo also has a combat side. And judo has a kata side, where you don't have to do any sparring, you don't have to do anything, and you can learn the judo and you can enjoy the judo. When you're doing jiu-jitsu, you have to fight. By definition of what jiu-jitsu is. Once you decide that you want to do a soft form of jiu-jitsu and not spar, you are 100% doing judo. By what? By definition. Judo is the gentle what? Way. When you're doing jiu-jitsu, even though Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came from judo, when you're doing jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu in and of itself is a combat art, period. So when you say, man, I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you're fighting, my man. You're fighting and you're training to fight. I don't like fighting, but then you're doing judo, my man. Because the moves are the same.
That's a great point. I've never thought about it like that. Without sparring, you're so right. It becomes judo. Hey, Zoom is about to
judo.
Zoom is about to kick us off. Yes. Can we just rejoin and we'll